You guys used to get.
It will be okay. It's on now. It'll be on. Okay, very good. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that was you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's me.
It's you. Hi, you.
All right, here we go.
Corinne, do you know Mike and Carl?
We will have them soon. I don't know if we ever. Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, let me just call the meeting to order at 6:35. Welcome to the, our monthly Community Development Committee meeting. We have a pretty short agenda tonight, looks like, but we'll see. Moving along, I'm going to turn this over now to Mandy Bruck. I guess you can just get started on what you have on the agenda.
So, an update of where we are since we went through the last CDBG round. I'm currently working on the CAPERS, which is the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. And the purpose of that report is to outline the accomplishments that were undertaken during the latest fiscal year and to speak to the progress towards the consolidated plan goals. The consolidated plan that we have was part of a 5-year plan. It was the last of the 5-year plans. So we will be putting out, I'm kind of rolling right into what's happening next. The 5-year consolidated action plan is what we are working on also. So we have to put an RFP out. And the new round of 2023 will be the first year of the 5-year plan. We've always done a 5-year plan. I would imagine if we went to a 3-year plan, we could. But by doing a 5-year plan, it kind of, in my mind, it kind of takes away from anybody that's coming in 3 years from now. So if you're part of the 5-year plan, the next council members that come in have to wait until 6 years from now, because they would be part of the next 5-year plan. That's a process that we can look into, but it's always been a 5-year plan. So I just want to explain that.
So are you in favor of a 5-year plan rather than a 3?
I think it's up to everybody else. I'm just trying to explain the difference between what a 3-year and 5-year would be. So if, you know, it even affects a new mayor. You know, if Mayor Noble is still here, he's part of the next 4 of the 5-year plans unless he runs again, or the next person that comes in is stuck with a 5-year plan that was cemented, you know, during this process.
Sure.
So the 5-year consolidated plan will mean that there will be a lot of public outreach, a lot of public meetings, trying to get an idea of what the public thinks that the money should be used for. Part of the 5-year plan is a study on homelessness, community needs, and housing. And within that, we outline specific goals of what we plan to accomplish within the next 5 years. And each year, when I do the CAPER, we actually have to report on whether or not we've met our goals, and if we haven't, why haven't we? Does anybody have any questions about either the CAPERs or the 5-year consolidated plan before?
I kind of do, because they're just sort of acronyms for me. So perhaps you can give a sense of if the performance for this year is in alignment with the CAPERs. I mean, have you met the metrics, and what does that mean in terms of, give me an example of a goal and how you met it or didn't meet it?
Okay, so
Give us some skin meat on the bones, basically.
when I write the CAPERs, and when they're done being written, I will let everybody know that they're ready for, because I also have to do a 30-day public comment period on them. So yourselves and the public can, give us feedback on what you think about the capers, but within the capers. So we have a housing rehabilitation program. As an example would be, our goal is between 5 and 8 houses that we are able to rehabilitate
Okay.
during each of our 5 years. It doesn't sound like a lot, but we also don't have a ton of money for that. It's $25,000 per house. When you go above the $25,000 mark, you're triggering certain things with HUD where you have to do lead abatement. You can't, if you start the lead abatement, you can't be like, oh, I'm just doing your window and walking away. You gotta do the whole house, which could actually deplete the entire amount of money we have, because the whole house could cost $100,000 or $150,000. So we try to make it so that there's money to go around. I mean, granted, it's not enough for everybody, but we can help somebody with code violations, or replace their roof if there's a leak, or replace their heating unit, if there's an issue.
Sorry.
We don't do Christmas wish list. We do what's actually necessary for somebody's house. Wish list would be nice, but we can't do that.
Sure. So this is, you're helping homeowners.
We're hoping low moderate income homeowners.
So these aren't like buying and rehabbing houses. This is helping current owners who are living in place
Right.
to do the repairs.
Right, it's called housing rehabilitation, but it's for the homeowner, LMI, low moderate income homeowner, within the city of Kingston.
Got it.
And if I'm correct, this is what, when we do the CDBG, this is like that one sort of item line.
Yeah.
That always is that amount.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what's been going on for, yeah.
Right. So then, I'm sorry, so then, another thing that we, would write about are the programs that you fund, like, Boys and Girls Club, or the Parks and Rec programs, and we talk about who we were able to help, what kind of programs they have, did we meet our goals?
Gotcha.
There's always a couple of, activities where somebody might not be able to, actually utilize the funding and complete their activities. So we might have one or two that we say, okay, they weren't able to do this, so this money is going to be reallocated towards another activity that could spend the money.
Let's just one more question, sorry.
Yes, because the many you.
Do you, and I probably should know this, apologies if I don't, is the payment contingent on performance, or do people get paid, and is performance follow payment?
It's a reimbursement process.
It is a reimbursement.
So not only do they have to complete their activity or project, you have to, when you're asking for reimbursement, we actually have a, Amy has like her own manual. This is what you need to have. Just kidding.
I mean, it's involved.
We actually, it's very involved. It is. We follow the city's procurement policy for one thing.
Is the what, I'm sorry?
We follow the city's procurement policy.
Mhm.
So when people come in for reimbursements, if they're looking for reimbursement for materials or supplies, they have to show us they have to give us a copy of the invoice, they have to give us a copy of the canceled check, front and back, so we can see that it was actually paid, it was endorsed.
And this is true for the nonprofits as well as the homeowners.
It's everybody, yes, everybody. We need insurance, we need to have, for the homeowners, it's a little bit different, but the contractors have to have the insurance in order to work on people's houses.
Okay, thank you.
So to kind of follow up, not about papers, but about the 5-year consolidated plan. So, we would be, so there's an RFP that would need to go out for the 5-year consolidated plan. And, I guess I'm just a little, like, so you mentioned some of the areas in which, like, in terms of like homelessness, how, like a homelessness study, housing, that kind of thing. That's a whole separate thing than the other work that we do, correct?
Yeah, so what will happen is, we will put the RFP out, we will hire a firm to come in and help us with these meetings and gather the information. And then they will actually write our 5-year comp plan for us, because it takes several people more hours than any of us would ever have to write it.
Okay, and so when we are talking about these 5-year plans, so there's a 5-year plan that's just concluding at this moment?
Yes, 2022 was the end of the 5-year.
And is that and I might, again, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm fully caught up.
Yep.
Is that the one that there's sort of like allocation for the home rehabilitation, or like maybe that kind of breakdown with the HUD money, or is this just a whole nother?
So that last year, the
Yeah.
2020, was actually the last year of the 5-year comp plan.
Okay,
So now we're gonna start a new 5-year comp plan.
yes,
But every year it's the same thing where we get we don't know our application
yeah,
from HUD
of
yet.
course.
It's always, like, we go through this process.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
annual action
yeah.
plan.
Right.
Got it,
So
okay.
5 years basically is composed of 5 annual action
Okay,
plans.
then that, yeah, no, I get the annual, I'm on board with
Yeah,
the
so
work that we do, really, but I'm trying to get an image of like what the 5-year plan is and how that might shift
Your
our.
5-year plan is basically saying, these are what our goals are, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
This is what the community wants to do. Then we have to make sure that each year when we do the action plan, that we are aligning with the comp plan.
Okay,
And if we don't, then we need to explain why in the caper
Okay.
we deviated or did not,
mhm.
accomplish what we set out to do.
And now all the puzzle pieces make sense.
So basically, the 5-year plan is gonna say where you wanna rehabilitate 25 homes. And then the annual plan is we have to do 5 to
Right.
read that
Yeah.
paycheck. Okay.
And the 5-year plan ended in 2020, you said?
No, 2022. So our fiscal year,
I must have misheard you. I thought I heard you say 20.
no, so our.
Forget it, okay, no question then.
Yeah, but our fiscal year is different than the city. So our fiscal year is July 1st through June 30th.
Okay,
So our 2023 fiscal year will happen July 1st of 2023.
got it, okay. So the 5-year plan starts on July 1st, 2023?
Yes.
Got it.
So between now and then, I need to put out the RFP, do the interviews, find out how much it's gonna cost, and then I'm gonna come to you guys, you three, among other people, and I'm gonna tell you that I need you to, give me some money out of contingency, because I did put it in my budget for last year, but it was for 2022, but it was removed. But it's not something that we can avoid. You have to have the 5-year plan in order for HUD to fund us.
Just make sure you put that in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
Now, what you're talking about right now doesn't involve, like me, for instance.
Not unless you want to give me money.
No, but I'm saying, I'm just trying to make sure I'm,
Yes.
okay.
Any other questions about
So
those?
far, so good.
I think we're good, yep.
Might mention the language access plan.
Well, yeah, so aside from the 5-year comp plan, the city should have had in place several years ago, a language access plan, which is everything is translated into Spanish. So we are not in compliance right now with HUD because that was never done. So that's something that also has to be done. So when I put the RFP out for the 5-year comp plan, I'm going to include that with it, hoping that whoever we get can do both of them and it doesn't cost as much money.
So somebody will do the translation.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that I can get somebody who will do both the comp plan, the 5-year comp plan and the language access plan together, so that it doesn't cost us as much money for having 2 separate plans, so.
And tell me what a language access plan is specifically?
It's everything that we do in Spanish.
Newspaper ads, applications.
Everything has to be
Yep.
bilingual, basically.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And that's only Spanish.
That's all they've told us.
No, I'm just,
Urdu is next year.
And that's telling us that that's what we have to do. So
Oh, okay,
if they come up with another language, then we'll.
I think it's based on the
The mouse.
non-English language in
Growth.
the community.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? No? Okay. So the next thing is, I don't know the exact date yet, but in October, we and I will have the 2023 fiscal year applications ready to go. And we usually give everybody until, I'll say like the second, third week in December to get them back to us, the applications. And then we review them to make sure that they are eligible. Sometimes they aren't, or sometimes we need additional information before we can get it out to everybody else, because nobody wants to look at an incomplete application. And then, once we get that done, I'm not quite sure exactly when you're gonna get the applications.
Okay.
I'll have
Is
to,
it interruption time? Are you talking about the applications that we normally look at? Okay. So we're still doing all this, like,
you're still looking at them, yes.
we're just looking at them just to look, or we looking
So the CDBG
advisory?
advisory board,
Mhm.
their purpose, first of all, is to review the applications and advise the mayor of what they believe
Mhm.
should be funded.
Yes.
And that's twofold here.
Mhm.
That's part of our participation for our comp plan, our action plan, and our capers.
Mhm.
And it's also within the city charter, it clearly states that there is an advisory board that advises the mayor of community development activities, issues, I'm not sure how you want to word that. But so yes, you will get the activities, and I will ask everybody to look at them, look to decide, you know, who they think that should be funded, and then we'll meet like we normally do, and then have a conversation about it.
And then what happens if, I'm just wondering if somebody missed something somewhere, because I was just thinking that, I was under the impression that we're not gonna really be doing it like we normally does it. We're doing it, and then at the end of all the hours and talking and trying to rack our brains out, it was best, even though we know it's gonna go before the mayor, and then, whatever, is that, everything still the same, or is there something changed a little bit?
Mandy, can I interject here?
Yes.
As luck would have it, I'm gonna be meeting with the mayor on Friday about something else. There seems to be a little confusion here, I'm gonna leave it at confusion as to whether we are going to continue doing this or not.
And I'll leave it.
My understanding is we were not, but now the mayor told Carl, we are. So let me
Just a
ask him
clarification.
on Friday.
Did you mention it? This is
Well, I don't, hold on, can you just do that? Okay.
Carl.
Put it back
Council, Ward 2, Michael Olivieri, Ward 7, Cassandra.
Missed your name, sorry.
Cassandra Dasty.
Sorry.
Hello, Sam.
Hi. I've been doing this for a while, for years.
So before every time this subject comes up, everybody starts looking around.
Yeah.
Let me address this with him.
Mhm.
My suggestion was going to be, even if we don't end up doing all the allocation decisions as we usually do,
Mhm.
we're still gonna meet, all
Okay.
right? As long as there's something for the agenda, that is.
Okay.
And, we are an advisory board, so we'll continue to meet. So it remains to be seen at this point whether we're actually gonna sit here for hours on end,
Mhm.
making deliberations. So let me take care of that end first. I'll advise everybody. I thought it was pretty clear, but apparently,
Okay.
It's in the charter, so, but more clarification is great.
yeah. So I guess what's clear to some folks is not so clear to other folks. So, all right, so let's do that, and, we just figure out, we're gonna meet monthly, so, we can kind of cross that off the agenda, unless somebody has comments about the duties. That's what I see as our main duty. For you newcomers, this falls right in as we are doing the city budget too. So be prepared, all right? A lot of late nights here, a lot of long hours on both. So,
On both.
we're gonna be doing the block grant decisions, and we're also gonna be working during that same time frame on the city budget, which is the big, they can go way late. I've been here after midnight on occasions, so.
CDBG isn't until what, February?
Yeah. That's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
catered
Yeah.
to different organizations.
I'm mixing the application dates up.
So,
Okay, yeah, so we'll be done with that. But
Forgive me.
we'll be going right from that into,
Because as a newbie, so what is the role of this committee in deliberating on the budget? I can see the finance committee having.
No, not this.
no, he just meant, he just.
All the old.
All the old, right.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about this. I'm sorry,
I
okay.
didn't make that clear.
I would like to request that when the five-year comp plan process is going, that you participate, that you come to some of the meetings. I know that you guys have long hours and other jobs and stuff, but I mean, the only way that things can really get done or you have a say is if you actually are there and either comment or have written comments, because all of this stuff gets put into the five-year comp plan. All comments get submitted to HUD. And it's really important. I mean, and like I said, I know it's time consuming. I have a full-time job outside of here. So I get it.
Yeah, all right, just for you guys that haven't been through this before, do you understand the basic premise of the block grant applications? I mean, I don't know if we have discussed this.
Yeah,
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Okay,
Is that all right?
Oh, no, please, yeah. No.
yeah. You want to plan it or you?
Well, how about I start and then you can.
Okay, yeah.
Are you in finance? Are you in finance? So I'm thinking.
Okay, so the purpose of the CDBG funding is seed money. So each year, when an application comes in, you're supposed to look, and obviously, if you are just starting, you wouldn't know, so you'd have to look at Amy and I to tell you, sorry about that, an application has to either be a new activity, it has to be a vastly expanded activity. So like, you can't have somebody coming to us year after year saying, oh, I'm serving these same 15 kids and I'm doing the same program. We are not supposed to be funding that. If somebody comes to you, and I'm just gonna use this as an example, and says, I need $25,000 to run this program, I cannot do this for less than 25. You can't say to them, I don't say you can't. HUD says you are not supposed to say to them, well, I'll give you 7. Well, they came to you for 25, the chances are they need that 25 to run it, so you can't pick and choose that you're gonna cut them. You know, because if they can't do the whole program, then they don't get the money. And if they can't finish their program, then they either have to give us back the money, or, you know, it's an issue. So when the applications come in, that's why we vet them first, make sure that they're an eligible activity. They have a matrix code that meets with HUD's approval. If we find that an application does not meet a matrix code or a national objective, then we will tell you. I mean, we're not gonna not let you know that they put one in, we're just gonna say that this activity, it doesn't qualify, and we'll explain why. Like I said, if there's ever a question about an application, we always reach out to them and try to find out more information. You know, anything in depth. The city does not use the capital projects portion of the funding for not-for-profits. They keep it within the city for city infrastructure. So the only applications that we are really receiving, other than city ones, would be for programs.
Very good.
Any questions?
Just one thing I would add in is that sometimes an organization will say, okay, we're asking for 25,000, but if we can still do the program that might be reduced for 10.
I settled.
And then that's how we end up with different numbers.
That was my recollection, that
Exactly.
that's why I gave you that look. So how does that fit? And that makes sense.
Right, but it's for them to tell you, because we've had it both ways. We've had people come to us and say, we can do this for less, and we've had people say, well, this is what you're gonna get, so you're gonna leave it. And you can't do that.
Yes.
You're not, I mean, That's a big no-no with HUD.
And
But if
then,
they say I can do it, okay, we'll have.
But they might
kids
reduce the number of days, the number of hours, the number of kids.
But, and when it comes to programming with kids, they have to have so many adults for child, for supervision. So I mean, there's a lot of things involved in it too. It's not just, yeah, I can do this for less money. We have to know that they have the amount of supervision for the amount of kids that they're talking about.
Or if they, say they're gonna use it for like, security cameras for their program, and they were gonna get a $25,000 system, and they're only allocated, 10,000, they could probably find a cheaper one, so they could say, well, you know what, I did wanna get one that covers the whole surrounding area, but, you know, I still wanna get this program going, so I may get one that will cover front and back, not all the sides, for 10,000 or something.
and unfortunately, the odds are, we never have enough money to give everybody what they.
It was a
So
painful
we're
process.
gonna be cutting back sometimes drastically, sometimes we'll eliminate people.
It was brutal, I was part of that.
Yeah, and we will have, besides the applications, which, you know, sometimes are less than clear when you read them, they will have the opportunity to come before us, for us to ask them questions, and these are the kind of questions, you really have to ask some hard questions, like, number one, can you do it with 10 instead of $20,000? And I'm gonna just kind of put this warning on the table, that we shouldn't be backed into a corner if somebody says, I can't do it for less. So,
Also, I want to say, because going off of what you're saying, later on, once the money's allocated and everything, you'll come to find that some of the people that you fought for to get the money, you actually attended one of their events and it was spectacular. You don't know how Kingston survived without them, that they got $150,000 from another program, and that one program that counted on that 13,000 and did not get that money.
Right.
And you actually seen them doing work with the kids or whatever, you know, so you gotta, think not so much with your heart, but with your head, but both. And then, you know, be comfortable with asking those questions, like, you know, is there any way to get other funding? Can you get a different type of system or, cameras or less people or whatever? You have to go and ask them questions, because you're gonna, you know, then they may tell you, you know what, I did actually fill out something else, and I didn't hear back from them yet. So I may be able to, they might be honest enough to tell you that. You know, I mean, it just, you know, because when you see that amount, you have to remember that total amount that we're gonna allocate is, you know, you, like you said, you wanna do them all, you wanna do half. But sometimes you can't even do that amount.
I think we had, what, $100,000 to give, like, for 400,000 in acts or
Yeah.
something like that.
and you have, as Randy says, this has to be something new, and you're gonna find when you read these applications, there's gonna be a few in there that are gonna kind of stretch what new is,
Right.
all right, so, you know,
New words, it has to be.
so
New
don't be afraid
words,
to ask
significant.
the hard questions, and that's gonna be one of them. Is this really, this sounds like what you've been doing for the last 10 years? If they try and make it sound like it's new.
I think they're all leaving, that's why it's left.
I think, historic landmark preservation was having a meeting.
Yeah, it sounds like it's part.
And some of these programs are gonna, you know, they're, on the surface, they appear to be ongoing. So that's another question, is how are you gonna do this next year? Because they can't come again for a new program next year. So, you know, it's not our job to keep these people in business. It's to help them start out.
That's what
And
I
that's
was
with
saying.
C.
These are the kind of questions we're gonna ask when we have them in front of us. And we do have somebody, I think that Sonny was alluding, somebody actually withdrew their application a couple of years ago because they found funding. So they withdrew their application. But it's very tough, you know, when we get to push and shove to eliminate some people that, you know, they sound like good programs, but, you know, it's just a numbers game, you know? and you'll find somebody will put in for half of our whole allocation, you know, and expect to get
Good luck.
what they're looking for. So it's tough, and, you know, you might get called out on it, and, just be prepared. I mean, I still feel like a real newbie. I've been doing this for what, I don't know, 3 years at least, but, you know, these guys.
You're a lot
are doing
older
it.
than that.
It seems like, but I feel like I'm still learning. Like every time we do this, there's more to learn about it.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Unfortunately, what happens is, and we guesstimate on what we think HUD's gonna give us. And some years it's a lot less than what we anticipated, some years it's a little bit more money.
We got a huge reduction.
never a lot more.
No, but we only ever get to use 15% of what we're getting for programming. It's a HUD
I
regulation,
don't even, I'm not even gonna get started.
but it's HUD's regulation, so it's, you know, we can't use more than 20% for
Yeah, that's
administration.
a whole different ballgame.
There's such a rake off going on, but never mind.
But
So
That's another thing.
also just keep in mind that 15% is for programming, that's not counting the home rehabilitation. So there's other lines, you know, that are in, that, you know, that this grant goes to, this grant money goes to. So it's not just 15% of what they get only goes
I
to,
understand.
yeah.
But we got a reduction of $80,000 from 2021 to 2022. Went from 760 to 680.
And it could be less, and the other thing is, we did not meet timeliness this year, we failed. And, well, no, I'm being honest, the year before, we were doing great, and then all of a sudden, we did not make timeliness again, so that could also affect how much money.
Because they spank you with less money sometimes, do it?
They can, we had gone 4 years straight with missing timeliness, and then I got us into compliance, and then we're out of compliance again. It's because people aren't spending their money, and we're not allowed to have more than 1.5 times what we are allocated sitting in the US Treasury. So right now, we got a lot of money that needs to be spent, it's just sitting there.
And what's the follow-up with the applicants, the people, you know?
Well, the city is the biggest offender.
So,
And so what we got,
I mean, just that there are ongoing projects that they have not been able to spend the money down yet, but it's sitting there waiting for them, but that's keeping us from making time limits.
Gotcha.
and these guys really got this down to a good, you know, to a science. Logistically speaking, I think with the timeframes, you'll be getting spreadsheets, you'll get all the applications, you'll get, you know, a synopsis, you'll get spreadsheets with everybody who is requesting money, how much they're asking, all that. And
Yeah.
what we like to do before we get here for the deliberations, everybody just kind of goes through and jots down a number that they think this person, and it could be 100%, could be 0. And we do, every year, there's usually at least 1 0 in there, that everybody at the table says, you know, maybe this isn't the time or place. And, you know, and we've had that before, and actually, somebody that got 0 last year actually came to me and said, I get it. You know, ours was not a priority. These other ones, I read these, and they should have got it. So some people are understanding about it, some people aren't. So, you know, you get used to that, and, you know, since I've been on this, I mean, I have so much respect for these people that have been doing this year in, year out. And some people really are frozen. They can't come here and make these decisions, you know, and somebody kind of asked to be removed.
you know, I was at the process last February, I participated in it, and I will tell you, it's really rough. You can't, I mean, no, you know, when I got divorced years ago, one of the lawyers said, if nobody's happy, then it's a fair deal, right? Then you did a good job,
Yeah, right, yeah.
Sort of the same here.
Yeah, well, the difference is, I think the last time there was a different feel for me on the way out, because we really didn't have much money, and, you know, I felt really bad. Other years, we walked out of here feeling great, we really did this as a team, and we come up with some really fair numbers that we all sat here and congratulated each other, and, you know, we walked out, but last year we just saw a little money. I don't think anybody felt good walking out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I started investigating, I knew they were gonna get some money from somewhere else.
Yeah. And then we had the special COVID a couple of years ago, and you read some of the requests, how they managed to squeeze COVID into the write-up.
You're
You know,
right.
some of
Because
them
it was
were really,
COVID
they
funded.
were not COVID related.
Creative
Creative
activity.
writing.
But some of those people weren't able to use their money either.
Yeah,
So we're reallocating, we have to.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's really in a nutshell. You know, as we get moving, you know, you start seeing the application, it'll start getting clearer. And, you know, the good part is sitting and talking to these people and really getting some answers from them. It helps you a great deal make a decision, because you'll find some people who really kind of scramble, you know, for answers, because they're not prepared for that.
And don't hesitate to ask any questions, even of Amy and I mean, to walk them through the process. A few years ago, I actually had our HUD rep come and speak to everybody, because they needed to understand that it's seed money, that you can't, what was happening was people would say, oh, well, I want to be nice to everybody, so we'll give this one 2,000, we'll do that one 3,000, and then like things weren't getting done, or they couldn't finish their activity, and I was like, what are you doing? So I had to come and talk to everybody. If you want me to, I can see if I can get that again, but we have a new HUD rep right now. And I think she's kind of learning the ropes as well. We are still really in good contact with our previous HUD guy, but, you know, he really wants us to use a new person.
We got a new HUD rep because she did just a good job. She did a superb.
Actually, and I will pat myself on the back. No, I mean, we were so far behind. They said that we were at the bottom of the barrel, like at the
Bottom
bottom.
third, something bottom fourth, we were.
And then I scrambled and I got all of our reporting done. I got us in compliance on every level. And because we got to the top quarter,
That's
they
what
felt
we
that we
got.
were good enough, and this, the cleanup guy could leave,
Right,
our other HUD rep, and now we've got this new person.
because we didn't need the better, right?
So, I mean, I do feel good about the fact that we were able to do that, and I couldn't have done it without Amy's help, because he's my little pit bull.
Thank you both.
She goes after everybody that's information from.
Awesome, that's great.
So, yeah, so I mean, we have a really good rapport with our HUD reps, so, you know, we feel really good about the program right now too. So anything that we don't know, and we know a lot, but we don't know everything, we have no problem reaching out and saying, hey, look, these guys came up with this question, and we just want to
They're
sure.
based in here or the NDC or
New York,
New York,
Yes,
New York City?
New York City, yes.
I think she's in White Plains or something, but
That,
the
they,
home
their
office.
head office is in the Javits Center.
Good.
Yeah, prime real estate.
Okay, so any questions?
Good.
Anybody fearful?
We meet again when?
I'm actually looking forward to it.
We didn't say yet, but, so what's gonna happen is, we're gonna get the applications out, then we're gonna have,
Informational session?
yes, we're gonna have informational sessions, so, I know with the budget season, it's difficult, but if you could at least make one of those, or at least watch one, you know, after it happens, so you can kind of see what's going on. The information that we share with everybody is the same thing that's on the application, but a lot of times the applicants have questions and we can answer it right then and there for them. So that might be something that will help you. We also have to have at least 2 public hearings during the year, which will, no problem, we've already had one. We'll have another one because with the caper, I have to do a 30-day comment period, and I have to do a public hearing for it. And then
Do you need a quorum of all the people for that or not?
then we'll have another one, public hearing. There might actually be 2 more to follow, because when we do the 5-year comp plan, you have to have a public hearing for that also. That's next year, but it's still part of this process, because our year doesn't end until June 30th. So there'll be a lot going on, especially because of the 5-year comp plan.
All right, so this is exciting. We're gonna get to do this again. Probably.
We assume. At this point.
So we'll see. Anything else you need to share with us?
I don't have anything, Amy, do you have anything?
Yeah, trying to think what else. I mean, you know, Angie and I, what do we do, 5, 6, 7 informational sessions? We do one during the day, a few in the evening. You all, I think, have attended them. So we have to get together on our schedule, and the applications will go out.
I don't necessarily know that we'll do 7 this year. I think last year we only did like maybe 4, because we mostly get the same people
Right.
year after year. It's really for people who are new, like Metro Me was a new application, so, you know, that was good. But we give people the options, nighttime, daytime. Some people work at night.
Yeah, we do like a 5:31, 7:01, we try to accommodate. So we haven't done that yet, then the applications come out, and then, as Mandy said, we review them for eligibility, and when she's talking about HUD matrix code, it was like 05B, 05C, D,
Yeah.
and it's like youth services,
So when we're
legal
reviewing, we have to fit it
services.
into a matrix.
Right,
Because
that's what
people
determines
here-
whether or not it's
people don't
eligible.
know.
Yeah.
Because we got one last year, and she and I are like, I can't find a code. We couldn't find a code because it wasn't an eligible
That's when
application.
we want to find a code,
Right.
but we can't, you know,
Right.
so then we call HUD and we're like, hey, like, nope, sorry, it's like, okay.
Right.
Does this get announced in Spanish? Or you have to language?
I'm sorry,
Do the applications just get like the announcement when you send out the announcement?
We don't have.
well, you don't have a language access plan yet.
I know that.
But when we do,
But
Yes.
some things go out in Spanish, I believe, from the city.
Maybe from the city, but not from our department.
Got it. Okay.
and so that's also going to cost
And
the
sometimes they,
city.
sorry, no, I was gonna say, sometimes on that, I think it's Labos, the radio, she gives, they give out a lot of information, so if they hear about it, they give it, out. It's in Spanish,
Yeah, we do.
yeah, and they give it, the information out, so that a lot of the people hear it, so it's not even so much that we have to make sure I know you gotta get it in Spanish, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
there's a way that they get the information.
Well, if I'm not mistaken also, and I'll double check, but I think within HUD, anybody that we give money to who runs a program also has to have some sort of language access plan. So they would have to figure out how to get it out there, you know, in Spanish for other people to participate. But the fact that they would need one isn't on us.
Yeah.
It's just that we have to have one. Because then our website has to have everything in Spanish, everything, we have all applications all have to be in Spanish. Somebody's gotta translate when I do the paper, it's gotta be in Spanish.
So that's going to cost the city or the department money. It's going to come out of admin. If we have to find someone to translate, right, and write everything. So does that come out of admin?
Well, all of our admin, we turn over to the city so that we can get paid.
Right.
And it's never enough to cover us, I mean, so. Sorry, a mask is hard to breathe, but I have one. So the allocation every year, the max that can be used towards administration and planning is 20%. So right off the bat, we already take that 20% off because we know we're turning it over to the city so that we can get a paycheck. It's never enough to cover for us, but we're only allowed to use 20%. And we are city employees. But, so we would have to, when we figure out how much the language access plan is, then we would need to sit down with them and ask them, you know, whoever's doing that for us, or later down the road, if we have somebody else who can do translation for one time a year, when the new applications come out, we'll have to figure out what those costs are. But like anything else, I mean, when the city doesn't know what's going on, you know, next year for something that they haven't put out yet, so it's the same idea. As soon as we find out, we'll let you guys know, because obviously I need the money.
And last 5 years ago, when we did the RFP for the 5-year comp plan, was it 50, 60,000?
My original request, though, when I put in for the 2022 budget, I did ask for 60,000, it was just removed.
I think that was a little more like.
Well, probably was, but it was a start, you know, I had to come and,
Yeah.
ask for something. But I'll be back.
Remember my cheerful face.
Just begging. So we have to, we have no choice.
Yeah. It's a, and I'll make sure that I let everybody know it's a HUD requirement. It's not like I'm saying, hey, let's just go spend some extra money.
Yeah.
It's a HUD requirement.
Yeah.
You want the money, you have to follow the guidelines. Anything else?
Anybody else? Have anything, Okay,
Sure. Do you need a motion to adjourn?
yes, we do.
Make it.
Second, we are adjourned. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I will be in touch.
Don't forget to stop.
Were you at the
Oh, yeah,
Golden Hill?
stop that.
I was the guy who came in late, and I just, and I apologize about apologizing. Being late, I just didn't enter that commitment in my calendar, I was planning on being there, and I just went through my calendar, so I stayed. I got a call, I think, but I really